Everyone is welcome here, it's time to make new friends. Aquavide Uskava, fill your Glencairn. Share a dram with the spirit of Edmonton. Slancha!
Slancha again. Welcome to you, the viewer, and to our fantastic panel. All these guys right here beside me. It's the After Dram, and that means time to unwind, eat up, grab a dram or two, or a dram and a cocktail, as I'm doing right here, and relax. Really relax. Just do nothing but listen to our dulcet tones and drink. As a quick recap to our evening, Dave, Paul, Steve, and I have been given a top-notch tour of Cooperstown Distillery in Cooperstown, New York, USA, and we tasted their rye whiskey, and it was fantastic. And well, I tasted a bit of the bourbon already. It was fun, it was informative, it was tasty. But let's have another round of introductions so you guys can tell us what's in your glass this time, because some people might have done a cocktail, and I'll tell you about mine in a second. But Dave, let's start with you again.
Yeah, I'm getting better at turning. After 2 years, I'm getting better at turning the mic on and off. Hey,
You're fantastic.
So, Yukon Dave coming from the basement again, and I'm drinking, and I tried not to drink it all before the show here. The Beanball Bourbon. So that's what's in my glass right now.
All right, thank you very much. Let's go to you, Steve.
Hi, I'm Steve Schmutz, just your normal whiskey enthusiast. I'm the same thing as Dave. I've moved on to the Beanball Bourbon.
And are you in your basement?
I'm in my basement, yes.
You're in your basement too.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm in my basement as well. We're all in our basements. It's where our wives have delegated us.
Yeah, that's about it.
Gene.
Well,
not in the basement, obviously. With
not in my basement. I'm in my office, but I too am imbibing in a bit of Beanball Bourbon. I don't want to ruin the party here, so.
Thank you very much. And you've got it straight or on the rocks there, kind sir?
I've got it straight. I tend to drink the Beanball neat. It's like I said, it's not a too complex style of a bourbon, so it's a little light. So I don't want to dilute it any more than it needs to be.
Perfect. And well, keep drinking. Drink all you want. You got an endless supply. I'm Dolph. I'm the president of the Alberta Scotch Society, Facebook, YouTube, Spirit of Edmonton. Come see me. What I'm drinking is, well, I'm going neat because I always like to try it neat. But what I also have is a spicy, but it's a rye Manhattan. So, well, Gene gave me this card. So we had choices to do tonight, but I decided to do that one there. 2 ounces of whiskey, which wasn't whiskey, it was rye, the bourbon, and a splash of sweet vermouth. So this is another 4 ounces of alcohol in front of me on top of the other two. So I think Gene's really pushing the buttons, trying to see what will come of all this. And I thank him for it. Thank you very much. It's good. I'm enjoying myself. And gentlemen, you know what? I think I only asked like 4 questions in my last one, or 4 pages out of the 10 that I sent. Gene, I do a lot of research, but there's a lot of these that might not ever come up, and that's okay. We're going wherever things kind of lead us.
Sure.
But I do want to do this. We talked about the laws, the trials, the tribulations, the people that helped you out, and I want to talk about the stuff that was really important to you when you thought you were opening the distillery. Now, you already said the baseball, and we talked about the Doubleday baseball decanter and the 108 stitches. I don't know if you said that or if I just read it. It's the 108 stitches on the seam, his signature on the front of it. If you turn it upside down, you see the baseball diamond. The cork on top looks like a butt of a baseball bat. You spent a lot of time on this, and it looks beautiful. So that was obviously a forethought before you starting. But you also said in an article, I'm quoting you, that the store in Saratoga was also part of your initial plan. So I'm wondering, what else was part of your initial plan? Like, what did you have your mind set on from the very beginning? And have you gotten to everything that was in your initial plan? Because you've been up and running for a little while, but is there something else kind of missing that you need to put in?
Well, sure. I mean, the original vision always included a pretty eclectic and diverse mix of spirits. We never wanted to be just a whiskey house or just a clear spirit producer vis-a-vis gin and vodka.
Yeah.
We wanted to, and it's part of my creative intellect and who I am, even in the days when I opened restaurants and was a chef in my restaurants. I'm a very creative person, and I love creating. In fact, if I were to write my job description with my new partners, which we never talked about, but I have new partners, and maybe we can talk about that in a little while.
Let's do it. We'll do it right after this. Lead into them. That's good.
Okay. So, if I have to write my job description in 2022 and 23, it'll be Director of New Products and Innovation. It's sort of, I mean, it really is. I get bored easily. I always used to say, after I opened a restaurant for 3 or 4 months, I was bored. It's opening the restaurant that's fun. It's running them is not so much fun. So it's kind of, I don't want to say it's the same thing, but I love creating new brands, new products, new packaging, the whole luster of bringing a new product to fruition, putting it in the marketplace is very exciting to me. So yeah, I mean, Saratoga store was part of the vision. We always knew that Saratoga had tremendous demographics that fell right into our kind of niche market demographic that we were looking for. And
Gene, help us out with that, because we're Canadians and we don't know Saratoga all that well. Or I don't know if Steve and Dave have made it there. I haven't. But I'm guessing it's a upper middle class type of trendy area.
Very much so. It has 2 small private colleges that are very exclusive colleges.
Okay.
It's a beautiful downtown area. Saratoga Racetrack, which is the oldest horse racing track in America, is located there. It's also known for its natural spas. Back in the early 1900s, it was a vacation spot for the rich and famous who would go there for therapeutic spa treatments.
Okay.
There's a tremendous entertainment park there called SPAC, Saratoga, whatever it is. I can't. It's an acronym. I should know it.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just gonna. Is this it right here? Is that the one?
That's our store, correct?
That's your store, but that's the Saratoga store, or
that's
not?
That's the Saratoga store, correct?
Okay,
very good.
Well, I'm trying, buddy.
And I don't know where you get
this one. I love this sign.
That's the Main Street store here in Cooperstown. Okay. This is right down on Main Street, 5 doors down from the Hall of Fame.
It's an engaging sign. I love that one. But
yeah, we love that too. Again, creative intellect. My wife and I partner up on these things. We come up with these cool icons and artistic things, and So Saratoga. Go ahead.
No, I was going to continue with that, but I'm going to also ask you about grain to glass. Was that part of your plan too? But
always.
Saratoga for me, please.
Always. I've been a purist all my life as a chef, and most of my restaurants were very high profile restaurants. We won best of everything in Atlanta for 24 years in a row. We're on a Wine Spectator Award, Grand Award of Excellence for 19 years consecutively. We won Best of Atlanta in every category. I mean, we were always at the top tier of performance, execution, and quality. And that's really where I took the direction of the distillery from day one, including the diversity of branding. And, we by the way, and Dave, you might find this like intriguing in a sense, and you might shake your head and go, is he crazy or what? But from my own research, we have more SKUs than any craft distillery in the United States. We have 17 SKUs. And we're getting ready to release about 4 or 5 more. So we will be over 20 as of the end of this year. So I might as well segue into the most exciting thing for us and you guys, I hope will bring us back for this, is Thanksgiving weekend, our Thanksgiving.
Yes, okay.
American Thanksgiving, which is the next to last Thursday of every month in November.
Mm-hmm.
Or is it the last Thursday? I don't remember. Anyway, we will be doing the release of our much anticipated, much awaited single malt whiskey, which will be a black label to complement the green, which is the rye, the red, which is the bourbon, and the blue, which is the American whiskey. We will have a black label.
Yeah. So I'll just put those up so people can see it. There's and there's the blue. And you're going to go black, you said?
Black, yep. Johnny Walker Black, you know?
Oh, okay.
Super, super excited about it. Finished in sherry casks for about 9 months. We're just like, we can't wait because it's truly the best. I think it's the best expression of whiskey we've ever done.
Nice.
So
and
I'm
you've been working on it for a while?
Yes, we have.
Okay.
Almost 3 years now.
Well, you had me at cherry cask.
And the answer to that, John, is I'm sure Greg and Yark will have it up for us here in Edmonton, and we always do. We always get it up here. We're good. We're well represented by Craftwork Spirits up here. We get all their stuff, not all of it, some a little bit.
We will give it's on allocation. We're probably not going to produce a whole lot, to be honest with you, on this first round. 2022 we will have more to release, but on this first go around we will try and get you guys a little bit to have up there in Edmonton for sure.
Excellent. So can I ask basically how many bottles in a release for you guys? I imagine it fluctuates all over, but this single malt, what are you bringing out for bottles?
It's going to be very small, Dave. So when I say allocation, it's an understatement probably. We're probably going to release less than 200 cases. And those are 6-packs, by the way. So,
okay.
Yeah. But, you know, we want to release it because it's kind of our way to strut our stuff is the only way to say it. It's just so spectacular. It's magnificent whiskey. It really is special. And we're very, very excited about it. So, yes, it will be on allocation everywhere. Even in New York, it's going to be on serious allocation.
Excellent. Now tell us about your new partners. Let's work them.
Partners.
Plural. Okay.
So in 2019.
Yep.
2019. We brought on some new partners. Actually, it was 2018. Time flies.
Ooh.
We're in our third year as partners. No, 2019, 19, 20, 21. Correct. I'm sorry. Forgive me. I hope my partners can forgive me for that one. But anyway, so in 2019, we were venturing out looking for pretty much capital to grow the business. I wanted to divest myself of my current partner at the time, who was sort of an impediment to growth and other reasons, personal reasons. But we were lucky enough, and I say lucky enough because they've been the most unbelievable partners anyone could hope for, to find this group through a mutual friend who was in the business of mergers and acquisitions and brokering liquor entities on a small scale. And he found us, he put us together, and we hit it off amazingly well. And before you know, we had a deal, and they bought out my now ex-partner, which was a very good thing. And it's because of them that we've grown the business as aggressively as we have. The 8,000 square foot expansion is by virtue of their capital infusion. And by the way, you had your numbers wrong. I'm going to call you on that one, Dolph. You had a $400,000 expansion. It was an $800,000 expansion.
Woo. Okay, good.
So
I'll give you my source if you want, but I'm believing you. Or was it 400,000 for you and 400,000 for them?
no.
I'm trying to make myself all right.
Yeah, no, it was an $800,000 expansion. We did get some grant money from the state on that, by the way, which was nice. But nonetheless, they put a lot of money into place. They were the reason for the Saratoga store, which was north of $750,000. So, I mean, we're talking serious funding here.
Okay. And you built a second level. So essentially you doubled your square footage, or did you go back as well?
We went back. What we did was, I wish I could walk around with, a camera, but I can't because I'm on my PC.
No, it's okay. I'll get there one day and you'll show me in person.
Yeah, I'd love that. And you guys are welcome anytime. We'll give you red carpet treatment.
See, we got it on tape, Dave. We're there.
Yep.
Steve, come to Edmonton, we're gone.
We were on a hillside and we excavated underneath the hill.
Oh,
and
that's cool.
Yeah, we had enough property footage in the back, so we went back about, I don't know, whatever it is, 70, 80 feet, 90 feet, whatever it is, I don't know. And we excavated into the hillside. We poured a slab for the basement level, which is also
that the dunnage warehouse then?
That's Rick House. It's Rick House as well.
House. Okay, yeah. Okay.
And we started to build our way up. We built the second mezzanine level with a roof over it, of course, then broke through the existing building and connected on the same grade, on the mezzanine grade, to the existing platform out here in the old building. So we added approximately 7,800 square feet, call it 8,000. Okay. We now have, for the first time in our history, 950 barrels in our rick house, which is amazing for us because at one time we were pushing and busting at the seams with 250 barrels because of our old configuration. And we will max out at about 1,600 barrels, which we could hit sooner than later. What we do after that, I'll leave it up to my partners. But how
much they want to invest in it?
Yeah, I think we're going to outgrow even this building. But it's allowed us, as I said earlier, I don't know if Dave was on board when we were talking about it, but it's allowed us to get into better spirits because they're more age-worthy spirits. I mean, we never could do that before.
Nice.
It's a great luxury to have rick house storage capacity
on site where you get to play with it and see what's there and test it often. Right. I'm just going to throw some pictures up because this is part of the new expansion, or was that previously?
That's Main Street. That's the first store.
That's nice. I like that. I could picture myself right there at the bar standing and just picking drink after drink. So, okay. And these stills, are they the stills that you use now? Because did you get more stills? I should ask.
We did. We got 2 more. Those are old. Those are old.
Okay.
Those are original stills. I shouldn't say old. Those are original.
And
we now have 2 more. We have 4 stills altogether.
Okay. And how did you come up with the idea? First of all, because you were not in distilling previously, you might have been winemaking.
Right.
How did you work out the configuration of your distillery? And did you fix that, or did you make it better somehow with this expansion? Like after working 4 or 5 years, were you able to picture in your mind what would make it better? And was that part of this expansion?
Actually not. The expansion had nothing to do with the stills. It was all about rick house and production. Meaning, I should say bottling. Yeah. Not production. So the old footprint is where the 2 original stills are, and the 2 stills that came pre 8,000 square foot expansion. So what we did was, since you asked, we had enough space in the old configuration because we had dedicated a good portion of our square footage to, at the time, was a decent revenue stream for us, which was we were doing private parties and events in this space. And it was retail / private party space, event space. We soon outgrew the 2 stills very quickly within 3 years. And we realized we had to enhance our production. we just were crippled with. I mean, they're both fairly small stills, so we made the investment. We took out the event space, so to speak. We carved it out as new still making space.
Okay.
We have a 1,500 gallon stripping still and a 350 gallon finishing still in that new space.
So now with your single malt, that's going through what? Is it a pot still? Is it the
Always pot still, always.
Okay. Good.
And
we
in
want to say
fact-
that for people because we like our pot stills. We're good.
100%. I would never put a whiskey through anything but a pot still. First of all, I know there's some guys that use column stills and continuous column stills, and that's not my game. So
Good.
but in fact, to take it to another level, our single malt never gets finished in anything but our Carl.
Okay.
So
And that's a bourbon still more than okay.
Right. Are you familiar with Carl, Dave? You know the Carl?
Yeah, we have a 400-liter Carl still at our place.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan. Know the family. Got to know them from taking classes with them at Cornell. They're great folks, and I think they make I still think they make the best still. I mean, some people say Vendange makes a better still, but whatever. I think the Carl still is top of the line, Cadillac or Mercedes, because it's made in Stuttgart, like Mercedes-Benz. So, you know, nothing goes through the single malt goes through nothing but the Carl. So
That's good to hear. I like that. Okay. So we have the stills. Who helped you with the design? And beyond that, who helped you with the, the taste profile that you were trying to develop? Like, did you have in mind what you wanted for bourbon, gin, vodka beforehand? And then you got the stills to go with your vision, or the stills that you had helped you with the vision? I'm trying to figure this out.
a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Nobody helps me with taste and profile or anything like that. That's sort of
Just what you had.
my realm.
Fair. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've been a professional. I used to be a professional food taster, by the way. So I kind of pride myself on my palate. But to your point, though, the gin, which is interestingly enough the first thing we ever put through the still, because we have a gin basket in our Carl finishing still.
Okay.
But the gin I used to make as a chef, I used to make bathtub gin, and I had a recipe.
You macerated it before, but now you're steaming it.
Correct.
Okay.
I steeped, I macerated, and I made it for years for friends. I mean, I would give it away as Christmas presents, you know.
Cool.
So
I like that.
when the Carl people came in, I'm sure they did this with you, Dave. They come and give you a couple days of hands-on training. No?
Dave's got a good story. We'll let you finish, and then Dave will tell you the story of the still.
Nicholas Haas, who has become a fairly good friend, he is one of the main entities with Carl. He's a family friend of the Carl family and has been with his father, actually worked with them for 30, 40, 50 years. When he came down, he said to me, okay, we're ready to go. We're live. What do you want to make first? And I said, gin. And he looked at me like I was crazy. And he said, gin? You don't want to make bourbon? You don't want to make whiskey? I said, nope, I want to make gin.
Because you knew it. You knew what you were
Exactly.
trying to do.
And he said, why? I said, because I've been making gin for 15 years, and I want to see if this recipe translates. He said, okay, you have a recipe? I said, no, I'm going to go in the office, and I'm going to crunch some numbers and do some equations, and I did. And I threw out a recipe. And he said, okay. So we, of course, had a gin basket. We stuffed the bin basket with our botanicals. I had everything there that I needed. And we made gin. The very first liquid that came out of that still was gin. Anyway, he was with another German fellow. And when they tasted that gin, they looked at me and they said, you've never made gin before? I said, well, not like this. I've never made gin. I've made gin in a bathtub, essentially. He said, well, this is the best gin I've ever had.
Oh, nice.
Out of a Carl. He goes, can you send somebody to get some tonic water so we can celebrate with some gin and tonics? I said, sure. So we sat up till like 3 a.m. making gin and drinking gin and tonics. But anyway, so, you know, some of it was inspirational. some of it was like vodka. I knew from day one that I wanted to make 100% wheat vodka.
Okay.
I believe wheat has the best profiles for vodka.
Yeah.
I don't want to argue with anybody about it. I don't care what they say. Wheat has the best profiles for a vodka that has any kind of substance to it. And so, for instance, we always made wheat vodka. Bourbon, I had this desire to make a bourbon that was a little different than a heavy Kentucky sweet bourbon.
Okay.
So we were low on corn percentages from day one. We're still at 65%. I mean, that's not big, but
It's still.
and the most interesting aspect of our legacy, which used to be Legacy, it's now Cooperstown Select, the red label, which these guys I know don't have, I don't think.
No, I've got a little bottle.
Okay.
Just a little ounce.
But this is sort of our pride and joy bourbon. This is 100% New York State, all that great stuff. But this is a 4-grain mash bill, and we're, as far as also from my own research, I might be proven wrong, but we're the only distillery in the United States that uses oats in our mash. So it's got
oats. I love it. It gives a fantastic mouthfeel. And Dave and I agree with it.
Right. It gives you, I always tell people the reason we use oats, and it was by mistake, by the way. We ran out of a grain one day and we used oats because that's what the farmer gave us. And it was spectacular. So I said, you know what? Let's try enhancing the grain bill all the time with a little more oats. We're now at 16, 17% oats. Gives you a beautiful middle palate. Think about oatmeal in the morning, how it sticks to your mouth and it's creamy and unctuous. And that's what it does in the bourbon. So we've stayed with it. So we're a 4-grain mash bill and we love the oat profile. We love it. And we'll never deviate from that. So that was sort of like took me. I didn't take it. It took me.
That's fantastic. I do it with beer is what we do. So we do our own beer. It's usually 10% is what we kind of aim for. 10% of our mash bill, our grains that are going in is usually oats, and it's all mouthfeel. And it clears up really well. And I don't know, maybe you could tell me, what is there a flavor that it actually adds? Because I can't tell because we're using a lot of barley, right?
No,
a lot of different barleys.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's flavor as much as it's profile.
Okay.
There's a creaminess, there's a unctuous dimension to it that only oats imparts. You don't get it from any other grain, period.
So which grain did you replace with the oats?
Wheat.
Wheat, okay.
So
Chef Ridgme, is this a friend? He looks like he's giving a shot.
Who's that?
Shout out. Chef Rigmy, RIGMI.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, well, he likes you anyways.
Huh?
That's good. Okay, sorry. I thought this might be a friend kind of poking you, trying to get some.
Yeah, no, I maybe I should. I feel silly that I don't, but I don't recall the name. But we did use wheat. We still like wheat. I mean, I don't know why, we couldn't make a 5-grain mash bill. I mean, but we use corn, obviously, rye, oats, and barley. We use about 3% malted barley.
Okay, that's good. Dave, this would be a good time to talk about the stills and how it came to your bosses, to Bob.
Well, Bob and Al both took a class with Carl down at Ann Arbor at University of Michigan. And was it 2007? They put the money down. Well, 2007, this all started. The stills came in, and Carl said, "Hey, we'll send somebody over to help you put it together and help you run some batches." And our guys said, "Yeah, that's okay. We'll figure this out ourselves." So they put it together on the Easter long weekend, and they were distilling single malt whiskey on Monday.
One was a chemical engineer, and the other one is
mechanical
engineer. So they had,
good. That's the only way that would have worked with those kind of intellects.
Well, and one of the cool things they said was, when you open up the multiple boxes, the instructions were amazing. A went to B and C went on to D. He said everything was, the instructions were great.
Agreed. So I have a funny story too, since you brought up Carl.
Do it.
So we have a vertical column still, which we use for our vodka.
Okay.
Only way to make legal vodka in the United States is a vertical column still. So I told the Carl family that our ceilings were 14 feet high, and we needed a column still that was 14 feet or less, right? So these things come in parts. It's not 14 feet long. It's a box of a 3-foot section, a box of a 6-foot section, whatever. So they start assembling this thing. We get to the last piece, and the German guy says to Nicholas, my friend, in German, apparently, we got a problem. What's that? If I put this piece on, it's going to be taller than the ceiling.
Oh, okay.
So Nicholas says to me, did you talk to our engineers? I said, yeah, I told them yours was 14 feet. He says, well, we got a problem because if I put this on, it's going to be 14.75, 14 and 3/4 feet high.
Okay.
So I said, well, you better call your guys in Germany. So he did. He got on the phone, and they're talking in German. And he turns around to me and he says, well, they didn't tell us, but they determined in their own engineering lab that the only way to get the proper refractional aspects that you're going to need to get 190 proof is that extra 3/4 of a foot. It's not tall enough. If they bring it in at 14 or less, you're not going to get there. You're going to get to about 185. So they had to make it another foot, approximately a foot taller. And I said, well, it was nice of them to tell me. And he said, well, it got lost in the shuffle. So I called my contractor literally that day, and I said, you got to get out here and cut a hole in our ceiling. And he said, well, that's easier said than done. There's electric up there. We got it done all within 3 or 4 hours. We cut a hole. To this day, my Carl still penetrates the top of the ceiling by about a foot. It's kind of funny. But there's a story behind it.
It's a good story. No, it's a good story. And it costs you a little bit more to do it, but it's a good story to have for a little while and brings into it. And that was right at the beginning. That's as you're starting out, though, right?
Correct. Very first days.
Because that would have been stressful on those first days. You're already stressed out. You're starting the business, and then your still doesn't fit. It's like, what am I doing?
Yeah, but you know what? It's sort of like, well, what are you going to do? You can cry, but it's not going to get you anywhere. So you do the best that you can. And then, you know what? It's been a great story ever since. And it was not a big deal. Really, when that guys got in there and started cutting out the ceiling, it was easy. Took them about 2 hours, 3 hours, and we were done.
Well, you made the decision. Just get it done, and they did. As long as the pieces don't crumble down and crush your still, is something else I could have pictured happening at that point in time.
Now, do you guys have a column still, Dave?
Well, here's me and the technology again. We have a bit of a column on our pot still, and sometimes it depends what we're making, where we run the plates open or closed. So we've kind of got a little bit of a hybrid still.
Yeah.
And kind of the cool thing, we actually use our brew house, and we have a still that Carl made that bolts on top of our brew house. So that's our stripping still.
Oh, cool.
And then we finish it over in the other still, in the Carl still.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a little different, and yeah, I talk to everybody about it.
I like it.
Okay. Steve, did you have a question before I go on? Because I haven't included you in the conversation. I feel like I should.
I've just been listening. Stills fascinate me. It's the stories. I hear so many places that have the same kind of issues where the still is taller than the room they have, and how they come about fixing that, whether they dig a hole or. But one thing I could have is, where are you getting this minty flavor from? I'm pretty new to bourbon, so I'll state that right off the bat. But I've never had a bourbon with this minty flavors before.
Is it just light and fresh, or do you actually taste mint?
I actually taste mint, and I don't know if it's just me.
Are you drinking the Beanball?
The Beanball now, and I tasted it in the Ransom too, but it wasn't as strong as the Beanball.
Let me. This Beanball is a little old. I'm gonna get a fresh bottle real quick. Give me about 20 seconds, okay?
And I could be confusing it with a different flavor.
Well, gentlemen, while he's away, let's talk about the beanball. What do you get? And he said this is not a sipping bourbon, but I mixed it and it's good, and I'm drinking it straight, and I think it's fine. It's not something, like he said, that we would sit down and deconstruct, but it's enjoyable, right?
No, and I'm thinking it's perfectly fine as a sipping bourbon. But like I said, I'm new to bourbon.
Okay, I like it on the rocks.
All right, I'm back, today. And I have beanball.
All right, and so
by the way, this is a new label.
Changing them all the time. I'll show you the old label.
Place here, whatever.
Well, that is a big difference.
Yeah, I get on this one. I get mint on the nose. I get mint on the deep after flavor. I don't know if it's me here.
Because you said that, Steve, now I'm looking for it, and yeah, all of a sudden I believe there's a hint of it in the back there also.
I don't find it, and I don't want to be difficult, Steve. I just find it fresh. So,
Steve, what if I told you that I thought it was more eucalyptus than mint, but it was still green?
Yeah, I can go with that. Sure.
I like that.
Okay, because I get eucalyptus for sure.
I know on the ransom I almost got a definite spearmint on the deep after,
like the finish.
Yeah. This one, yeah, I could see eucalyptus.
Yeah, so the beanballs, just it's a fun bourbon for us. I mean, it's not our signature bourbon, but it's fun. And we do very well with it, by the way. I mean, not to in any way disparage it, but it's it's our workhorse bourbon. It's our bar bourbon. We put this in a lot of on-premise accounts. They pour it in there well because it's very nice price point. This comes in like about in American US dollars. This is like to the restaurateur bar. This is like a $22 bottle of bourbon. That's cheap for a craft bourbon.
So about 150 in Canada.
Something like that. Pretty cool. Yeah. No, we'll hit 40, and Yark and Greg maybe will be able to tell us on the side how much that comes.
I every time I look at your guys' pricing, it just blows me away. But whatever.
Dolph told us to add peppermint to your sample, Steve. Yeah, that's it. It was me fucking with you. Is what's going on? It's all me, Steve. Sorry. You know what? I want to go back, Gene, just quick second though. I saw this a lot on a lot of the articles. It was 95% state grain. You were almost 100%. And are you 100%? And what was the 5% that was keeping you away then, if they're not now?
Yeah, no, that's misinformation, by the way. So just for the record, I mean.
Nope, good. It's where we want it, right here.
We have two lines which are distinctively different. Okay. The baseball line, the double day bottle, the beanball, and a couple other little things that we do here in locally in the state. There you go. Thank you. That's great.
There's the double day right there.
And by the way, I'm going to show you before. Do not let me forget to show you the two new bottles that we're coming out with
decanters
in October.
Okay.
It's really spectacular. But so we are 100% on our pedigree Cooperstown Select line. So we are 100% New York State grain.
Okay.
The brunt of our production is dedicated to the Cooperstown Select line, which includes all the whiskeys, and
they're the most recognizable to me. I've got to tell you, when we say Cooperstown, I was not thinking this. This is, I don't know if we've ever gotten this here in Canada. So the double day, I don't know if we've ever had this decanter, but this not the rye, but this label, the Cooperstown is easily recognizable for us. We've seen it a lot. So that when we talk about Cooperstown, for me, that's what I'm picturing. It's the red and
the green and the blue and soon to be the black.
Which will be
that's 100% local grains. That's right up the road, 35 miles up the road, Canajoharie, New York. Farmer's been there 160 years, his family, I should say. So yeah, I mean, we're 100% New York, but the other piece of our business model is the double day baseball bottle, which we sell massive amounts across the country.
I bet.
We can't keep up with that. There's no way we could make that product. So we source that product, okay?
MGD again. Yep.
MGP. But again, we do the NNM. We navigate, we negotiate, and we manipulate, and we really do. So we never want anybody to think that it comes out of a tote and it goes in a bottle. It does not exist in our regime of production. It goes out of a tote, it goes into either used barrels, it goes into another tote with staves, it goes into an agitator. I mean, it goes into another barrel usually after that. It takes 45 to 60 days before it ends up in a bottle. So it's completely a different product after we get it. And therefore,
to add to that, when you get it, you can tell them how to make it your own as well.
100%.
When you order it from them, you tell them, I want this, 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 and this.
In fact, we have a company that we're dealing with right now out of North Carolina that's a custom production house.
Okay.
So they will buy MGP product, okay, for us. They'll procure the product, and then they will come to me, or I will go to them, and they'll say, okay, what are you looking for in your bourbon? And I'll say, I'm looking for a little spice. I'm looking for a little chocolate. I want a little bit of coffee. You know, I don't want it too sweet. I want a little bit of caramel. You know, and they'll try and construct it that way in their warehouse. Then I get it back, and I still do NNM on it. So, I mean, we're talking about a decent product when it's all said and done, even though it's sourced. So, you know, I make no pretense about hiding that, but I also want to reinforce that we go to great lengths to turn it into a better product, period.
Excellent. And, well, we're looking forward to it. And we look at all the comments. Greg and Yarka are just going crazy with these comments on the side. We have them. Estimated Beanball 84 in Alberta, higher in BC and Ontario because of the tax system. And there's Stephen. He's talking to him.
Hey, Dave. Dave, I'm not familiar with the Yukon country other than my son's in Alaska right now. That's the closest we're going to get to Yukon.
Okay.
That's close. Closer than I am.
Yeah. He's actually there right even as we speak. But do you have different tax structures in Yukon than the rest of these guys, like Ontario and Alberta and all that?
Well, everybody has a set excise tax that's put in by the federal government, and then each state and territory will implement their own internal one. And I just watched that thing. It was going to be $84 for the double day, was it, in Alberta, and $110 in BC? Yeah.
Well, and that's what Stephen said.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we here,
it might be less.
Here in Alberta.
Why would BC be higher? Just help me. I don't understand.
Alberta doesn't have the same tax system. So state by state, province by province, it changes.
So the first thing is that they're their own liquor board. They can do what they want and nobody questions them. Yeah. Second thing is Alberta has a flat tax. I'm going to say $13.80 on every 750 ml bottle that comes into the tax guys take $13.80. Part of that's going to the excise guys.
Unless it's cast strength. If it's cast strength, it's even more.
Once it goes over 60%, it adds about another $3.50 to the thing.
Yeah, we used to have Alberta, that same tax.
Yeah, so Alberta has this flat tax. We learned this the hard way. The first time we sent a bottle into BC, the tax was $34, where the tax in Alberta was let's call it $14. So there was a $21 increase in tax, and that's because they have a percentage tax. So if you're selling really cheap booze, it's better to sell it in BC than in Alberta.
Right.
Yeah.
So you get sticker shock on your product when you go into different provinces, correct?
Oh yeah. And so what happens is everybody out there in social media, they say, well, I'm not buying that product that's coming in from outside of BC because it's too high. And I've had to have friends of mine on the side send a note to those people saying, yeah, well, that's because of the tax in BC. It's not the booze is too high, because it would land in Alberta and BC at the same price.
Well,
so if you, yeah,
that is true and a little bit different too, because I find on $100 bottle in BC, usually you're getting it for about $70 in Alberta.
Ooh.
Then you add 5% tax in Alberta, and you add 15% tax in BC.
Yeah,
So
we don't have a provincial.
It works out to
sales
like
tax.
75 compared to $115.
but then the government can
But
play
some are
around
the
with
same.
the numbers.
Yeah.
The government can play around with the
We
numbers.
get one in BC that's cheaper than Alberta. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's there's no rhyme or reason. But I find on average we're about 30% more expensive.
And
BC.
Simcoe,
Yeah.
Alberta's the best province to come to if you're looking for whiskey. generally.
Undoubtedly. I get a Bunahaven 12 for $58, including tax in BC. I'm at $112 in Alberta, $58, $112 here.
Yeah. So, Gene, I don't know how much it changes from state to state where you are, but from province to province, there's a considerable change.
Yeah, no, Greg and Yarker were very informative about that from day one. One of the reasons that we thought we could do business was they always felt like Alberta was the most accommodating price point state for me, even though, you know, I still look at the difference in pricing here and what it sells for in Alberta, and I shake my head and go, I don't know, understand it, but that's okay. I mean, you guys have social medicine and we don't, so I mean, you know.
that's the crutch. We use that all the time. Every time we talk about this, it's always, well, we got social medicine.
That's important to a lot of people, so we're going to put it there. Gene, I'm going to ask you a testy question a little bit. So I
like testy questions.
So, all right. So you guys are, I don't know how to say this. I'm not from there, so I'll need you to tell me if the two are inseparable from each other. So Cooperstown and baseball seem to be so linked, so intertwined that you can't think of one without the other. If anyone's heard of Cooperstown that I know of, it's always because of baseball. Mm-hmm. Now I'm wondering if you are, as a distillery, inseparable from baseball and Cooperstown. Like, and what I mean by that is your most popular product is the, well, I'll show it again, is the baseball. So not the actual baseball here, but that baseball. And do you find that you have to walk a thin line between being gimmicky and being a hard-nosed distillery producing nothing but the best spirits? So is there a fine line when you have something like that is so popular that you're linked to baseball and you're linked to Cooperstown? So
yeah, it is.
You get what I'm trying to say? Because
of course I do. It's a very, very, very poignant question, Dolph, and probably the best question of the night.
Nice.
So yeah, I struggle with it all the time.
Okay.
So the best way to answer it is to say this. It's the cachet of Cooperstown and the affiliation with baseball that is the knock on the door that opens the door into the house.
Okay.
It's the differentiation of product and the eclecticism of product and the quality of product that gets us invited for dinner.
Okay.
Okay. So I would be a liar to say that the baseball and Cooperstown don't mean an awful lot to our brand. And in fact, in some ways detrimentally, because a lot of people see the baseball bottle and they don't want to go any further. They're not interested. This is what I want. This is great. I get it. No, you don't get it, because I'm constantly saying, but we're a whole lot more than that. Okay. You know, we make a world-class gin. Our gin is off the charts. I mean, it's a cult gin. In fact, I get emails from all over the world about our gin. And, you know, gin's a tough sell to begin with, as you know, even though it's going through a little bit of a renaissance. But you know, I'd like to move those kind of products in people's face, and you know, hey, look, we're not just the baseball bottle. We are Cooperstown, and that's what got us to knock on the door, and the door opened. But hey, since your door's open, you know, and I'm looking inside your home here, and it looks inviting. Let me show you what else we do, you know? And so, yeah, it's a very, very tough and thin line to straddle. At times it's challenging, but most of the time it works to our advantage because the cachet of the town, the name of the town precedes everything else.
Yeah.
And so we have sort of a built-in value that, as I like to say, we're not the Dubuque, Iowa distillery, okay? We're the Cooperstown distillery. Don't you know Cooperstown? Yes, I do. Baseball Hall of Fame. So automatically there's some resonance, there's some traction, which we think works in most cases. Mm-hmm. But to your point, it is a hurdle at times. It is very difficult to navigate that fine line of, well, we're not just baseball, although we are a lot of baseball. But we do have this other whole line of products that speaks to a higher realm and a higher pedigree of production. So, yes.
Okay. You do have to work it, but you know what? And for us, it's not a problem because I'm going to say a lot of Canadians don't know that the Baseball Hall of Fame is in Cooperstown. A lot of people are not making that connection.
Greg and Yarka did.
Well, they're in the business, right? We just see the labels. We see what's there, and that's kind of what guides us. And really, it's your presence on the shelf and how much and the height in the store where we see you and how much it's promoted in social media, and it is quite a bit. So it's great. But I was thinking that it would be a really big hurdle where you are, having people trying your single malt.
Yeah.
So,
but you know what? That's why my partners have taken a very strong stance on this Cooperstown Select line, the green, the red, the blue, and the soon-to-be black label, because it's really where we want to hang our hat. We love the baseball, and I don't let me lose sight of what I want to show you because you're going to be very impressed. But you know, we want to hang our hat on our whiskey portfolio. I mean, we make world-class whiskey. When you guys taste this single malt, I'm telling you right now, you're going to call me up and say, when can we order a couple 100,000 cases for our province? All right. I'm serious. It's that good. It's spectacular stuff. But you know, it is a challenge. I mean, you know, they see the baseball bottle. It comes in 3 flavors. It's a no-brainer. It's a beautiful package. I want it.
And it's a great, for me, if I know a baseball person, it's a gift because I like to give alcohol for gifts. It sounds bad, but I love it. It's my thing. I'm into alcohol. I taste a lot of different stuff, and it's something I like to do. But what I will ask you, Gene, now would be the perfect time to actually have you show us the new bottle.
I couldn't make a better suggestion myself. Give me 30 seconds.
And total confidence that we went to visit. Yes. And we have faith in you guys that you did it. So, gentlemen, what are you thinking? Do you think
I was thinking about, as soon as I saw that bottle, I'm dying to know how much that damn thing costs. Like, I don't need to know a number. I just like to know his standard bottle versus the baseball bottle.
Now, there's this one, and you see Doubleday on. Yeah. I forget what the A stands for, his first name, but Doubleday. There's also baseball cards.
Abner Doubleday, yeah.
Abner. But they also have other Baseball Hall of Fame guys coming on there. And if you look at the social media, there's always someone saying, when's this guy going to be available? When's this guy going to be available?
It's like the hockey series.
It seems fantastic.
Cool to have one of them bottles on the shelf.
You have a favorite baseball player, Steve? Hall of Fame.
I love baseball. Yep. I don't like watching it.
Okay.
On TV.
I find to say that to the American.
Yeah. Tim Raines and Andre Dawson.
Okay. But because if you do have a favorite player, it's kind of nice to have that as well, because you have baseball fanatics. And just like in Canada, picture it being Canadian and you have a hockey stick or a puck come out and a different name signed by the person on the puck, or you have their signature on it and everything, it would sell out. It would do really well. So it's a logical step that Cooperstown did this, especially where they are. And that was my question. And the way Gene said it was fantastic. It gets them in the door, but what they do afterwards is kind of important, right? So
get you the invite. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Oh, and you know what? Now that we don't see Gene, we see the ball in the background, the yoga ball. So he the gray yoga ball. He gets in shape. He likes that.
When somebody starts making hockey themed bottles, I'll be there.
We'll be there.
We already have a skate.
Right in the middle.
There's a skate here. There's a hockey stick, but
I've seen the hockey stick. I have I've seen the skate, but they're usually vodkas and really not that impressive. But if you look at the bottle, and like again, there's the amount of stitches. It's on the very bottom. I should have had a picture of the bottom where it's a baseball diamond. The top, if you have the top view, which I don't have, it looks like the top of a baseball bat. It's really well thought out. It's a beautiful bottle. It's a beautiful decanter, and I haven't seen it, but I would get one. Right? And if I drank it, I'd just fill it with something else. Keep it on. It's a decanter. It would continually do that. So Gene's getting the next bottles ready. And
did he go down to the distillery? Oh, there he is.
Here I am. All right. So these are our newest SKUs that are coming out. We should have them by the end of October. So this is our football bottle.
Nice.
Oh, there you go. Let's see it. Here, I'm going to make you large there, Gene. 1 second.
Yeah.
Let's do this properly. There we go. So the same stitching on that. And do you have a signature?
No signature.
Okay.
This is actually not the bottle I'm looking for, because the bottle I'm looking for has the goal line and the yardage field and all that underneath it. I'll disappear for a second because I'm curious that I don't see it here.
We still hear you. It's good.
Okay. I don't see the I think somebody borrowed it, but so this is, I can't figure out where the camera, there it is.
There you go.
So on the pedestal, this doesn't show it right now, but there's
the goal lines?
The goal line and all that. Chris, you see it over there? No. All right. Doesn't, nonetheless. You get the idea.
Who's your helper, Gene?
Christopher. He's my daughter's boyfriend.
Hey.
Here he is.
Welcome, Christopher. Hello. Glad you could help.
So that's the football bottle. That'll be out
in October. Okay.
There's a little more ornateness to it. This is not the bottle that is supposed to be here, and I'm furious that I don't have it handy. But I don't know. I think somebody borrowed it to show someone else. So, and then this is.
It's all good. We're all starting with this social media, and I'm just. It gives me a second to get caught up with the comments on the side.
Yeah.
We need to try Legacy. I've got a little.
He's got it. He's got the red label. No. And then here's our golf bottle, which is the driver.
Nope, driver.
See it?
Yeah.
Kind of like that there, right there.
Yeah, that looks good.
And this is pretty cool. It's got a green underneath here.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So we're really excited about these two products. They're going to be out in October.
Right in time for Christmas.
Right in time for
Christmas.
Christmas.
Who thought about that? That's good.
And then we're working on a couple other things that the black label, of course. Sing 'em up. And then the baseball bottle, since you're a fan, it seems, as gifts. We are going to put the Cooperstown Select, the blue, the green, and the red, in the baseball bottle.
Okay.
And adorn it with beautiful burnished brass neck hanger. a breastplate and a bottom pedestal plate, because it's not going to have the same liquid as the generic baseball Abner Doubleday has. It's going to have the actual blue, green, and red in the baseball bottle.
And you have to differentiate.
Yeah, I don't have that to show you, but we're going to upcharge for that.
Nice.
So-
And that's good.
Can I ask
Sorry.
how did you get the rights to put Abner's name on the bottle?
Well, it's over 100 years old, so it's archival, protected.
Okay,
Public
So,
domain.
there's nobody that has any rights to it.
okay.
After 100 years, it's free game. In the USA, I don't know what the Canadian laws are. So Abner Doubleday, by the way, is from Ballston Spa, which is a town about an hour away. So he kind of has a local element here in his history as well.
Nice. And one other thing I see when you go online, you see the small, you have small decanters as well. I was thinking you should make them into Christmas, something like that had a hole through it that you could put on your Christmas tree.
Great
So
idea.
I think that would be a fantastic thing. And not just the 3, that have the black in there as well. So have a Christmas thing with all 4 of them that I could put up on my Christmas tree. That's what I would want for Christmas. But I've got to say,
Great idea. Great idea.
this is the most seen item online, and I need you to see the second most important item online. It's this one right here, and we saw Percy behind you before, so I just want to give those to Percy, because Percy was sitting behind you for a lot of the first, and he was coming in and out. Is he in the distillery a lot?
Every day he works.
Excellent.
We work him hard. He doesn't even get overtime, but he still comes in every day.
That's a good puppy. Good
He
stuff.
wears, by the way, he has a name tag that says Distillery Dog on it. So
Oh, is that
he's a
on this
great
picture?
dog.
Hold on. That's it. Oh, no, I can't see it on that one. It's just, okay.
it's a new edition, pretty much. But he's a great dog. He doesn't like 4-legged animals, but he loves people.
That's okay. As long as he's fine with us when we go there.
Yeah.
We're going to wrap up the comments. So, Steve, did you have any last questions or comments, buddy?
Yeah, I was just wondering about the football and the golf bottles. Is that a specific liquid in it, or can you get different ones?
It's going to be the same. Well, let me just say this. Let me just address the football bottle first. So the football bottle is going to have the same liquid. This goes out to Yarka and Greg more than even you guys in a sense, as the base Abner Doubleday decanter. So you can get it in 3 flavors: vodka, whiskey, and bourbon.
Whiskey.
Yep. Again, it's MGP that we NNM negotiate, navigate, and manipulate. So you'd be able to get it in 3. But we've decided that the great golf driver bottle, because it is a driver, Big Bertha, I guess, for any golfers out there.
Yep.
This is going to have single malt only.
Ooh.
Because it is homage to the great game of golf, which originated in Scotland. And we want to put single malt in it. It's not our single malt, but get a load of this. So we bought 2 years ago MGP malted whiskey that was already 2 years old. So now it's going to be 3 years old. It's been aging in our barrels, bourbon barrels, and sherry barrels. So again, NNM in a big way, and it's going to go in the golf bottle. So it's going to be single malt.
Nice. I like that.
Carried single malt of that.
Right, and it's nice. I mean, this MGP single malt, I'm telling you, I have a connection at MGP. I buy all my product from the same guy, and he was worried that we weren't going to like it because he tasted our single malt. I sent him a sample, and he said, "Wow, you guys are doing fabulous things with single malt." He goes, "I'm afraid to send you ours." And I said, No. You guys make great products. Send me the single malt. And he did.
Just up your game a bit. That's all.
Yeah, it's great stuff. It's great stuff, and we're again negotiating it into a better product. By the time it ends up in that golf bottle, it's going to be really nice single malt.
Nice. Dave, last questions or comments, buddy?
So I got to ask about the beverage exchange, because all I can imagine is guys coming and giving and getting. But I kind of thought it through, and it's, I'll give you some money and you give me a bottle. But that, I love the sign, and I really find the name interesting. Like, how did you come up with beverage exchange?
I'll come back to it. I'll find it.
Because we purvey. So I'm glad you asked the question, because it's pretty interesting. So we purvey only New York State manufactured products, and we can sell, because of our license, beer and wine. So we have a whole retail section. One whole side of the store is dedicated to New York State produced craft beer and New York State produced craft wine. So it's a beverage exchange. You can come in and buy all Cooperstown Distillery spirits, and then walk across the aisle, so to speak, and buy all this great beer and wine from local purveyors. We source out really neat stuff. We're constantly changing the inventory. And, we don't do anything but small craft stuff, local stuff. I mean, we really play into the whole New York State local thing.
That's a great story. I love that. So going back to the sign outside the shop, you don't happen to have that on a tin sign somewhere around the brewery that I could get my hands on?
He likes his tin stuff behind him.
We might be able to figure something out for you.
Well, I collect old signs. This one's from Stevens Point, Wisconsin.
Yeah, I saw that. I know that beer.
Oh, do you? When you're out of Point, you're out.
I've had Point. Yeah, it's good beer.
Okay. Yeah, well, their slogan was, when you're out of town, you're out of Point, because they didn't sell it outside of Stevens Point.
Right.
But now it's owned by a different group.
I lived in Chicago for a while, so
they sold it in Chicago.
Yeah, I also made many jaunts to Wisconsin for brats.
Oh, geez, I don't know if you can see my grain belt sign.
Oh yeah,
from
cool.
Minneapolis. Yeah.
Nice
so I'm
job.
a sign guy.
Well, Steve's got signs back there too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I've got Kamloops Brewery on one wall. I've got Molson Canadian on the other wall.
Yeah.
Bean. Mine's all hockey related or Scotch related behind me. Gene, last comments or questions, whatever you want, man.
No questions, just comments. First, again, it's been a great privilege to be with you guys, and it's been fun, more important than anything else. It's always nice to have fun at what you do. And I'm still having fun, by the way, as opposed to being in the restaurant business, which I left years ago. I'm having fun. So it's been a great pleasure to be with you guys and banter about booze and Cooperstown Distillery in particular. But I guess the last thing I want to say is, I feel very strongly that as we build more history, we're entering into our 9th year. October 13th is our 8th anniversary. So we'll be in our 9th year. I would suspect that as we get into the 10th year and more of this Rickhouse inventory comes online, we will be releasing, by the way, our first 5-year-old bourbon, and I will make sure that you guys get a sample. There won't be any for sale in Canada, but I will get you a sample. I promise. That's my promise.
Thank you.
It is extraordinary, to say the least. So, I'm seeing, I have this vision of more and more what I call noteworthy spirit that we can take that's got more age than normal. Instead of just 2-year-old straight, it's 3-year-old, it's 4-year-old, but it's ending up in a blend. And in some cases, maybe even single barrel. And we're making what I call world-class whiskey on a bigger scale. I want to get more of our whiskey out there into the rest of the country. I think it's great stuff. I want to have the problem of my partners coming to me and saying, we're now in 17 states, 18 states, 20 states. What are we going to do? We can't keep up production. And I'm going to say we need to build another facility. So
we're going sideways. We're taking the block over. We'll buy them out.
But I love our whiskey. I think it's world class, and I say that without any hesitation. I'll put it up against anybody's whiskey. And the proof's in the pudding. I always tell anybody that wants to taste Cooperstown Distillery product against any other product to do it side by side. There's no such thing as recollection of sensory perception. Sensory perception is immediate. It's in your face. So if you want to see how good our whiskey is, you taste it against somebody else's whiskey right then and there. Okay. And I do that with my salesperson, the only guy I have out there on feet on the street. And he comes back to me all the time and he goes, "You were right." I asked the retailer to get his favorite craft bourbon. He pulls out Hudson. I'm just throwing that off the top of my head.
Yeah.
And when I pulled out the red label and we tasted them side by side, he was like, "Wait a minute. Why haven't I heard about you guys before? And why don't I have this whiskey?" And I'm like, "Okay, there you go." So anyway, we're proud of our product. Glad that we're in Canada. Greg and Yonker worked real hard for us, and in addition to their other brands. And I know their whole Craftworks portfolio is, dedicated to guys like us that make a better product than the rest. And that's really what it's all about for us. From day one, we were always quality oriented. Again, back to your point, it is a challenge with the baseball thing, and we're more than baseball, though. We're a lot more than baseball, and we want the rest of the world to know that.
And we'll be looking forward to that black label as it comes out too. And I'll do that tasting blind with a whole bunch of others in there.
You know what I want you to do? I want you to have a special show just for single malt and include the black label in there and do a challenge tasting against a bunch of other single malts.
I would do that, and I'd make them all blind. No one know what it was.
There you go.
A, B, C, D.
Let's do it. Can we hold you to it, Dolph?
Oh yeah, we're good. That'd be fantastic.
Because
I just need an exorbitant amount for myself.
This black label is, I want it to be in a tasting. All right.
Okay, done. And we'll do it online. We'll do it with people. And I'm the president of the Alberta Scotch Society. So that could be a tasting for the Alberta Scotch Society.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll go through that, and we'll bring you on. We'll all do it.
You could throw a ringer in there because it's basically Scotch. I mean,
Well, we have to fight. It's not, we are the Alberta Scotch Society, but we do international whiskeys, tons of them, because I'm pushing international whiskeys. I love them. Well, that's it. That's all the time we have. Whiskey brothers, whiskey sisters, whiskey friends. This has been a fantastic late afternoon, early evening for me and for Stephen, and an evening for Gene. And Dave and I are in the same city, so we're the same. Thanks to the listeners today. Thanks to the panel, Dave. Paul, who didn't come in for the second part, but was here the first part. Thank you, Stephen. Absolute pleasure spending this time with you. And special thanks to this guy right here, to Gene from Cooperstown Distillery in Cooperstown, New York. I learned so much, had a lot of fun. And I've got another tasting coming up, and it's all we're doing.
Thanks for your time. I know time's precious for everybody. Thank you.
Well, especially when we're drinking whiskey, that's the thing to do. Join us.
Next Saturday. Yep. Thanks, guys. It was fun.
Saturday, August 21, noon Mountain Daylight Time, 7 o'clock for our guests in Scotland. We'll be continuing our 10-week international whiskey journey with Chris Leggett. He's the CEO of Douglas Lang, so we're with him next week. And I'm really looking forward to it. You should too. Final note, if you don't want to miss a minute, like, subscribe, all that stuff. But gentlemen, raise a glass if you can, if you have anything left.
I got nothing.
Here's the good company.
Yeah.
Here's the good whiskey.
It's a great whiskey and a great company. Thanks again.
And have a good night, everybody. Cheers.